What is the exact nature of the contagion?
It's deadly. It kills within 36 hours. One escaped convict was infected. He's dead now. The other man may be infected, and he's on the loose.
Does anyone know how it's communicated? Whether it's a virus or bacteria?
No, we just know that over a dozen men have died from it, and it appears to be highly contagious.
Then you don't know much, Agent Mulder.
Why weren't we told the truth?
We didn't know the truth. What we knew would only have slowed you down.
But innocent people could be infected. What you knew could have prevented that.
How? In 1988, there was an outbreak of hemorrhagic fever in Sacramento, California. The truth would have caused panic. Panic would have cost lives. We controlled the disease by controlling the information.
You can't protect the public by lying to them.
It's done every day.
Hello and welcome to Most Unwanted, an X-Files podcast. This is episode 49 of the show. And I'm joined, as ever, by Luke Costin, who is now a seasoned veteran podcaster.
Podcast veteran, yeah.
Yeah, we have officially been doing this show for a year now.
It's crazy. I kept seeing on Time Hop that a week ago, that when we put out the Humbug episode, that was our 0 episode so far. I better not say anything for this.
Yeah, that was just like the warm-up, wasn't it?
That was something we needed to do to make the podcast live, basically. But yeah, like I was like, man, it's been a year already, and it's like
it has flown by.
Yeah.
And we're almost at the end of season 2 now.
Yeah.
So at this rate, we'll be finished when we're 80.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I do always look. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying it, but I do always look forward and go, my God. Not that I wish that I'd chosen a shorter series, because like I'm really enjoying the X-Files, and I don't know whether I would have picked it up if we wasn't doing a podcast about it.
Exactly. Yeah,
but. It's daunting still, isn't it? It is still daunting.
Yeah, even though we're like, oh, we've done 2 series of 11, and there's 2 films. And, there is a lot to it, and I was like, oh, yeah. But the good thing about that is we can just keep doing them. So, you know what I mean? Like,
why not? It's something to do, isn't it? And we're both enjoying it, and we get to hang out with our best bud.
You.
Oh, look at that. That's the love. I think. You come for the X-Files, you stay for the love.
Stay for the love.
And that's the motto of this show.
Yeah, we should change our Twitter handle. Or Twitter bio.
Twitter bio, yeah. Come for the X-Files, stay for the love.
Yeah.
Okay.
People might think it's a cult or something. That's the only problem. So, we'll have to see.
But, regardless of that, how has your week been, mate?
It's been okay. I mentioned last week that I was watching the Wolves match, and I did.
Yeah.
We won.
Yeah.
We beat Man U.
Going into the semi-finals.
Yeah. The first time since, let's get these BBC stats out the way, 1998.
There you go.
Long
Nice.
time.
See, I don't know whether I've ever mentioned it on the show, but I support Liverpool. But I went to a bar. Obviously, we live near Wolverhampton, so I went to a bar, and I felt like a Wolverhampton fan. Like it was like watching Liverpool for me. Like I've never got behind another team that I don't necessarily support more than that. It was just the atmosphere, and you can get caught up in it, can't you?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And honest to God, when that second goal went in, I went crazy. It was so much fun.
The best bit for me is because we went to a bar, but it was just the bar that we went to was just ridiculous. Like it was absolutely rammed. It was a 1-in 1-out policy at the point. So we just gave up there and we decided to come here. To my house is where we're recording.
To the studio?
To the studio, yeah. And we decided to watch it here. And my mom was also going. My mom of Twitter fame.
Yeah, we've seen her. Yeah, she's been on our Instagram. Yeah. Instagram famous now.
And she was going with my dad and my brother. Who's also been on. Felt like a family.
I know, yeah. Where do I fit into this podcast?
But yeah, they all went and they told me our tickets are right behind the goal. We're sat literally right behind the goal. See if you can see us. We should have done a drinking game. Because the amount of times I saw my mom jump in the air and everything, it was crazy.
I like that though, because you don't get that in English sports really.
No.
Like in American sports, it's a bit different because they do like the whole sort of they do like fan cams and things like the kiss cams at NBA games and stuff like that. You don't really get anything like that over here. Like the fans are just sort of in the background.
They sort of zoom into the fans every now and again, but they always seem to pick the worst examples of the fans to zoom into.
They always choose either the sorry for the lack of a better word, the scummiest people out there, apart from the World Cup, where they zoom into every girl that's in the crowd, like any female. You're on the TV. Like, God forbid you were female at a football ground. Oh my days. Okay, so you had fun then?
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. Like, surprisingly, like, because I was a bit like disappointed that I was watching at home, but have a few drinks, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's what you make of it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's what you make of it.
And then this week coming, we're both going to something which you could probably talk about in a bit as well. We're going to see a Scottish comedian called Limmy.
Yes. I'm really looking forward to that. But it's not a comedy show, really, is it? It's a book reading. He's got a new autobiography out, but you know he's going to derail and it's going to be funny.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to that. That's Sunday.
Yeah.
So pretty much a week. Oh no, not even that. A couple of days. I'll be going to Wales. Literally in about 8 hours.
Is it that soon?
We get up first thing tomorrow morning, go down to Wales. This is the thing. Me and my partner, we like to travel, and it's been put on the back burner a little bit in the last couple of years because we had to pay for the house, and now we're sort of saving for the wedding, and there's always one thing or another that crops up. But before then, like, we love going to new places, experiencing different cultures, and it's just one of my favourite things to do. And as we were sort of talking about, where should we go on, we realised that there's so many places in the UK that I've not seen. Like, I've never been to Scotland, and I have probably when I was a kid, but not that you remember, and not that I can appreciate. And so we just thought, so we're going on a tour of Wales, go around all the major cities. Really looking forward to it. Get back and literally go straight to Limmy, so it's going to be a good couple of days.
Yeah. From Wales to Scotland, you're doing a travel.
I mean, Brexit means Brexit.
Let's not start this again.
I mean, to be fair, Brexit is a part of our lives on an everyday basis now because it's an absolute shambles, and that's the first thing on the news every day this week. So I feel like we have to talk about it.
You know, I used to watch the news and keep up with the news, and I still do because you have to, really.
Yeah.
Since 2016, the news has just been miserable. Every day it's either Brexit or Trump, and it's like, God damn it. But there's just too much nowadays, and it's just,
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolute sham. Like, our government doesn't even know what they're doing. It literally, it's just honestly, I just don't think there's a good side either. Like, it's just a load of people with their own self-interest, and not caring about what happens to the country.
I think you're just describing a politician.
But I just, you know what? 2 or 3 years ago, I felt like there was a little bit more of a greater good to the whole system. And I just don't see that anymore anywhere. And it's just, it's depressing. It is depressing. And even more so, I still have to get my passport changed. So, I mean, that's the real crux of the issue. I need to go into politics to get this sorted.
Yeah, you're so angry about it, but really it's because there's an £80...
Because it affects me. I'm being the selfish one. It's my interests that I want you to sort out. Do you think we should get into politics?
Probably not, no. I
reckon we'd be decent.
Everyone thinks that, and all the politicians think that.
Okay, give me... I mean, and we'll get into the X-Files eventually, but give me a scenario that I have to deal with as the government. So I'm the government.
Okay.
Okay. You give me a scenario. I've just been instated. Right. UK is mine.
Okay.
Okay.
So, do you want a really serious one, or
a semi-serious one?
Semi-serious.
Yeah.
Okay, not too serious.
No.
War.
Just give me any. Give me a contentious issue. And
Global warming. You've got to know. It's, as we know, it is definitely happening.
Yeah.
What are your policies?
Okay, my policy.
Or are you even going to tackle it in your election campaign? Are you going to go green?
Yes, I am. So I'm going to go green, and I am going to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a loan. I'm going to take a big loan.
All right.
From
the Iron Bank of Bravos.
I'm going to take a big loan from some sort of superpower in the world somewhere. I'm going to take a big loan out, and I'm going to redo the roads. And I'm going to put solar panels on the motorways. This can be done. I've seen it done in America somewhere. I think it's on one of the highways. I'm not sure. We're going to take the roads. I'm going to make this, base all of them solar panels all over the place, all the motorways, right? That is going to pay for itself in about 10 years.
Yeah.
But we're going to get greener. We're going to get greener in the meantime, because that's going to be the energy that we use. That's going to be our main source of energy. And we pay it back once we get excess energy that we can just push to somewhere else. And that's how we pay it back. Bang, sorted. See how easy that is?
America doesn't want to loan us money.
Well, we go to North Korea.
They haven't got any money. They don't have food.
Then we go to... That's not funny.
No, that's very, very real.
Yeah. Then we go to Germany.
They still don't like us.
No, because I've gone back and grovelling to Europe, so they like us now.
Can you do your grovelling to Europe speech?
Oh,
that's what I want to hear. This is the crux of whether I elect you or not.
Okay, fair enough. So I say I go up to like I don't know what you call it, the European Parliament.
Yeah.
And I say I'm Daniel Checkley.
Yeah.
I've recently been elected as the government for the United Kingdom.
Which party do you represent?
All parties.
Okay. Yeah.
I am just the government as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm still hiring for certain positions. The people before me were nimwits.
Tears. I want tears.
No, don't laugh. I'm getting into character here.
Okay.
The people before me, they were nimwits.
Yeah, they were.
They were nimwits. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Okay, here's a samurai sword.
Fall on it. Yeah. For my country.
Yeah. What are you willing to do?
Yeah, to be fair, no, you're right. I go back to my self-interest then. I don't want to do it.
There we go. And that's why you'd be a bad politician.
Well, on that note, on that bombshell, shall we talk about X-Files?
Let's do that.
It's simpler, isn't it? So in between running for the government,
Yeah.
I managed to fit in an episode of the X-Files.
Oh, right.
I'd like to talk to you about it today, if you don't mind.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, let's do that then.
Let's do it.
I want to talk about a particular episode, a specific episode, if you will. Okay. I want to talk about episode 21 of season 2.
Right.
Okay. I don't know whether you know this. It's called the Calusari.
I did know that.
You did know that?
I did know that.
Did you know that it originally aired April 14th, 1995?
I did actually know that.
Okay. Oh, big for your boots, I get it. Okay. Did you know it was written by Sarah Shano?
I did, yeah.
And it was directed by Mike Vejar.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
You did. I can't catch you out. So, yeah.
I can prepare, just in case there's any note failures again.
Yeah, none this week, luckily. We'll get straight into it. I mean, before we start, though, have we seen these people before, the writer and the director? I don't recognise the name.
I don't think so, no. Mike Vejar, or Vejar, how do you say it?
I said Vejar, but I don't know.
I'm not sure. I've definitely not seen that name. Sarah Charno sounds familiar. Okay. I get the feeling she's written one episode before.
Yeah.
I can look at it towards the end when we get to production
we'll deal with that in production notes. Yeah. So yeah, in this episode takes place in primarily Virginia. Mm-hmm. And we open up on a lovely family, day out, I suppose, with the Holveys. Mm. And they're spending the day at what I found out to be Lincoln Park.
Sorry, I just thought... I knew it was called Lincoln Park, but as soon as you said it, I just thought of the band. I don't know why.
You know what? I didn't even put two and two together.
Do you reckon that?
Are they called Lincoln Park?
Because they're called like Linkin Park, aren't they? Mm. But I don't think they were around before LinkedIn, so I don't think that's the connection.
Yeah, do you think they sold out?
Yeah. LinkedIn Park. Yeah.
Just advertising all over them.
Tried so hard and got so far to get a job. Oh God.
Amazing.
Yeah, maybe that's where it actually comes from then. I
Possibly.
don't know. Maybe.
These are things we should know.
I don't care about Linkin Park that much.
I liked a few of their songs, but to be fair, I don't remember any of them now.
I used to be a massive fan.
Did you?
Oh yeah, back in the day.
See, I was never a massive fan. I used to just like pick and choose.
I used to be a Kerrang kid though, didn't I? Like always Kerrang. If anyone, because we have a large American audience.
I think Kerrang's in America, isn't it?
No, it's a UK.
Oh, it's a UK.
Yeah,
there you go.
Kerrang
how much I know.
It's basically like a UK rock and metal magazine, TV station, radio station.
Yeah.
And I used to be one of those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still are at heart?
Yeah, to a degree, but I listen to a lot more rap these days.
Yeah, nice.
the new.
I anything and everything.
Yeah.
Anything and everything. I don't like genres. I just like songs, and if it's a good song, I'll like it. So there's my take on it.
All right.
This family are having a lovely day out. Well, they was. This goes like. I felt bad because I in my notes I made a joke.
Oh.
I made a joke.
Dark jokes.
Very dark jokes but I didn't realise they were dark jokes at the time. So Teddy is there.
Yeah.
He's like their little toddler.
Yeah. They even say that he's 2 years old.
Yes.
2-year-old Teddy.
Yeah. He lets go. He's loving it. He's loving life. His dad comes over. I've got ice creams for the whole family.
He takes a hell of a dive, doesn't he, at the beginning? Like, this little kid, they just let go of his hand and he just slams on his face.
Slams on his face. Well,
very much a precursor to what's going to happen.
They give him the ice cream first. Yeah. I think he lets go of the balloon first, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So he lets go of the balloon flies off, and that's always sad.
Yeah.
And then his dad comes over with ice creams. Oh, everyone's loving them. Yeah, brilliant. And he falls over, ice cream on the floor, and I put down, could this day get any worse?
Well, that was poorly timed.
I didn't know at the time. Oh my God. Like, it was comical how everything went wrong. And this poor other boy, who we later find out is Charlie,
yeah,
he just gets his balloon taken right off him, give it to the little kid.
His face, the way he's staring, the way he's looking at this kid. Have you ever seen that episode of The Twilight Zone where it's the kid that, doesn't want anything not perfect? And his family has to jump through hoops.
You know what? I haven't seen half as much Twilight episodes as I would have liked.
Do you know? I don't know. Did you ever watch Johnny Bravo as a kid?
Yes.
Do you remember the episode where he babysits somebody and he keeps getting sent to the cornfield?
Yes. Yeah.
That's based on
it. Isn't Johnny Bravo just basically entirely based on Twilight Zone
Most
episodes?
of them are Twilight Zone. Yeah, it's like Twilight Zone for kids. Basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, so the kid from that, the kid from this remind me a lot of the original Twilight Zone kid as just really menacing, the way he would stare at things.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's intentional.
I mean, as we'll find out.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear my Johnny Bravo impression?
I feel like we're going to hear it anyway.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God, I feel like so second fiddle on this podcast so far. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, mama. Do the monkey with me. I'm doing the monkey now for everyone that can't see. Not impressed? I thought that was pretty good.
Seeing how long that...
I can do I can do Dexter. Dexter's from Dexter's Laboratory.
Okay. So you've auditioned to be the Prime Minister, Johnny Bravo, and now you're going to have a pop at Dexter.
I've got to get away from the mic a little bit because I've got to shout.
Okay.
You are stupid. You are stupid. And don't forget, you are stupid.
Oh, that one was too bad, to be fair.
That was good.
Right, yeah.
What cartoon characters can you do? You've got to have one up your sleeve, surely.
I'm trying to think now. What cartoon character can I do?
Porky Pig. Can you do the...
No, I can't do Porky Pig.
That's all, folks.
No. Give me another one.
Bugs Bunny.
Nah, give me another one.
What's up, Doc? You can't do... Everyone can do Bugs Bunny.
Give me another one.
What's his name? Somebody Sam.
No, actually, we'll do Bugs Bunny.
You did the same one as me.
What's up, Doc?
It's rabbit season. There we go. What are the... I mean, should we just make this a cartoon impression?
I feel like we should knock that on the head fairly quickly.
So
impressions yes or impressions no? I feel like we're going to Twitter poll everything there.
So yeah, Charlie's obviously really annoyed that his balloon's been taken away.
God, this is going to take a very dark turn of what we've been talking about.
That's all, folks.
Wow. Oh, my word.
So I'm going to bring it back. For the record, me and Luke do not find children's deaths funny.
No.
We were making light of it in the circumstance before we realised what was about to take place. So, Charlie's very angry. He wants his balloon back. His dad's like, I'll buy you another balloon. His dad can't be arsed with Charlie.
At all.
I'll buy you another balloon, it's fine. He says, no, I want my balloon. Mm-hmm. Nah. He's not having it. His dad just says, come on, let's go. Mm-hmm. Maggie, the mother, takes Teddy to the restroom while she goes to the loo. And, this is a bit weird. She straps Teddy to, like, the sink outside and then shuts herself in. I would never do that, not in a public place. But is that a done thing, do you think?
I don't know. Like, watching this scene made me realise that I'd hate being a parent because I'd worry about everything.
Yeah, I think that's part of the package.
As soon as the kid stacked her on the floor, I'd be like, that's it, we're going home.
Yeah.
Taking him to the hospital. I get worried about my dog. Dog.
Dog?
I get worried about my dog, like, eating a bone or something like that. I'm like, he's going to choke on that bone. I'm like, we shouldn't let him chew on this. That's a dog. I can't imagine what I'm going to be like with a kid.
No. As I say, I think I'd like to say it's not like that, but I think it is like that. I think you just learn to live with it.
Yeah, pretty
You know
much.
what I mean? It's just that constant worry, but then the good outweighs the bad, so.
Yeah. It's just one of those things.
Oh, yeah, certainly. The inevitable happens. She's like singing to him while she's on the loo. And the inevitable happens. She comes out and he's disappeared. His straps are still there, but he's disappeared. And we see him. He's following the balloon. He's out in the fields and he's following this balloon, which it's a helium balloon. It's not going up into the air, though. It's sort of moving a direct straight line. Yeah. And Teddy's just following it along.
Do you know what? I didn't pick up on this until Mulder starts talking about it. Like, I just thought, the balloon's just floating away.
Yeah, it is a bit weird the way it's sort of just out of his reach. And the fact that the kid's staring at the balloon as well, the other child.
I see, that's what I thought. Like, I knew obviously something weird was happening, but the way they figure it out why something weird happened, I just was like, didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Well, this balloon floats onto the train tracks, and Teddy follows it. And as we all know, we know what X-Files is like. We know they don't take too many risks. So a guy comes and saves him right at the end, which is what I thought would have happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're not going to kill a kid. This train just piles over this kid, and then we stop and we see the kid staring at it, the Charlie.
Yeah.
And then we just see the parents crying over their dead baby.
Do you know what it reminded me of? Do you know those films you watch as a kid to not, like, play on, like, building sites?
Yeah.
It was like one of those. It was just like, man, this is dark. Like, really dark.
It was so dark. Like, I did not expect this.
Yeah.
This just caught me. Because I just expected it to, as I say, someone to swoop in last second and, like, the danger's there, but no one got hurt. This is a ballsy move.
Yeah. It's very bleak. Very bleak. And such a turnaround from last week's episode. I was not ready for that start.
So we go to the title screen then. I'd say it was a pretty strong start, would you?
Yeah.
It got me interested in it. And
Definitely
again,
did.
I think for shock value, if nothing else, the one thing I did note on this, again, noticing, like, they kept on focusing on the sort of the strap of the, not the strap, the string on the balloon. As if someone was holding it. And I thought, another ghost episode. And everyone knows how I feel about ghost episodes. So I just thought, please don't be a ghost episode. Of course, it ends up being a ghost episode. Pleasantly surprised by this one, though, but I will get into that.
See, initially I thought, because I imagine the Twilight Zone kid, initially I thought, the kid's like psychic or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, he's, I don't know, just a bad egg. Basically.
Well, like, what's that film with Drew Barrymore when she was like a little girl? Is it Firestarter? Or something like that.
That's Stephen King book, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And it's like literally Drew Barrymore's a little girl. She just goes crazy.
Something like that, yeah, probably. I've never seen it, but
and that's the kind of excellent. I don't even know what I'm saying. podcasting.
Yeah. It's like that film. Yeah, I don't know, probably.
Yeah. Moving on. After the intro, Mulder and Scully are reviewing a photo from the scene of the accident. Mulder's convinced that the balloon's being pulled by some sort of ghost.
Yeah.
And this is supported by the whiz kid.
Yeah.
What they call the king of digital imaging, Chuck.
Yeah.
And Chuck works his magic on this photo.
Yeah.
And apparently he can make normal cameras show electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, I like how he's describing this. And he's like, oh, I'm using this software package to do this that I invented. So Chuck invented Photoshop. I
mean, it's not even Photoshop, it's basically filters.
Yeah. Invented Instagram.
Well, I'll put Valencia,
Yeah.
I'll put sunflower. Oh, let's have a look at the electromagnetic fields here.
Oh, and there we go. Dead child.
So they see like this ghost holding these balloons. Scully's not convinced. She thinks it's just a shadow. As always, we get that same dynamic that we usually get. But Mulder's convinced that it's some sort of ghost, poltergeist, that sort of thing.
There's a line here that Scully says that completely threw me off. She says, when they're talking about how the kid had basically got out of the restraint things that they had, I don't know what they're called, like the
harness.
harnessing, yeah. She says, well, I have met a lot of slippery 2-year-olds. And I was like, what does that mean, Scully?
Well, no, they wriggle around.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've recently my niece has been born like in the last month, and like she does not like. I've never been around babies before, so like I'm nervous to hold her and stuff like that.
Same, yeah.
It you get used to it, but yeah, like trying to put like trousers on her. It like she just doesn't like. You think it'd be easy? It's a baby, you know, it's like, just like dressing a doll. It's not. She does not make it easy at all to do anything.
They just kick.
Yeah, they kick. They lock their knees. Like they just honestly like they live to just be a pain in the arse. But she's the sweetest thing, honestly. So yeah, they see this imaging. Talking about the strap, Mulder does bring this up as a sort of a reason why his explanation is worthwhile, because he says that unless the kid's Houdini, he wouldn't be able to reach the strap to get out of it.
Yeah, basically.
So the agent visits the Holvies, and Mulder does say at that point that Teddy may have been helped onto the tracks. It might not have been an accident, which distresses the parents out, obviously, as you could imagine. And Charlie enters the room at this point. The ominous fire just blows up, and you get that usual thing. I do want to point out at this point, I thought the music was fantastic throughout this episode. I really did. The tension of it, you had the sort of the gong noises, and I don't know whether maybe it's been in all the episodes and I've just not picked up on it, but this episode in particular, I just thought it was perfect for the tension of it. I don't know whether you picked up on it yourself.
I didn't really notice the music in this one, no.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was just I was more in tune with it this episode. I don't know.
Sometimes you are, depending on...
But it really improved the episode a lot for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I really did enjoy it. In this point, there was a lot of the sort of ominous music and the sort of the high rise when the flames went down, and then it just sort of lowered down into sort of this little bubble. But yeah, everyone's oblivious apart from Scully. Scully does notice, and she goes out to actually have a look because she sees him sort of just sulk off, and she sees an old woman drawing on his hand.
Yeah.
And we see a close up of this, and she draws a swastika.
Yeah, I mean, I knew what this was implying because I've heard this before, that like a swastika in the other direction is basically like an old symbol.
Is it in another direction?
Yeah, it's a reverse swastika or something.
Can you reverse a swastika? I mean,
I've
just got to draw it out in my head.
I think if you flip it basically on, it's like a mirror image.
Doesn't it? Wait, doesn't it just look the same if you flip it anyway? No, it doesn't.
It goes in a different direction.
Yeah, it's a different direction. Yeah,
but I've heard this before, that the reverse is meant to be like an ancient symbol. So I knew what they were implying with this. Regardless, I would not let anyone draw a swastika, reverse or not, on my hand.
And you know what? I don't think I still don't think I'd go with a reverse swastika badge or anything like that. Like, I don't think that'd go down.
There's a lot of explaining to do in there.
I feel like you'd have to explain it to everybody.
Yeah. I'm not a fascist. This is because it rewards off evil spirits. Which still is not a good look. No. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lose-lose. Stay away.
Yeah. So, I mean, they caught me off guard. I hadn't heard this story before, like how it's used in a different context. And I didn't even realise it was backwards. Like, I didn't even think. So, yeah, didn't understand what it was at all.
You just thought she was a neo-Nazi.
She's converting them early, I don't know.
A Romanian neo-Nazi. You're like, wait, what's going on?
Was she Romanian?
Yeah. In the subtitles, it said speaks Romanian.
Oh, you know what? They mentioned Romagna.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I assumed Rome. Like Italy.
I think it's.
I'm probably stupid.
I think it's Romanian, yeah, because that's where
It makes sense, yeah.
Isn't that like Roma, where Roma people are from? Romania. I'm not sure.
See, now I think of Roma, the football team, which is from Rome.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, we see this drawing on his hand, and back in the room, Mulder's sort of talking about strange occurrences, like things moving, and just your general paranormal activity, I suppose. Did you ever watch Paranormal Activity?
Yeah, good film. I like the first one.
The first one's really good. They killed it, didn't they?
The second one was the exact same film. It was like, okay. And I just stopped after that.
I mean, really going off on a tangent, I think that in general with most horror films, like, if horror films work with their own original concept. Apart from like your slashers, like with your slashers you can get away with it because they are meant to be a little bit tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
a lot of them are anyway.
Slashers tend to go original concept, really interesting. The first few sequels they just do the same thing, so it's a bit dull. Yeah. And then like they get to like the 7th film and it's like they go to space.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
Weird stuff happens.
And that's fine. And because at the end of the day they're not meant to be like hugely tense. They're meant to be jump scares. You know what you're getting out of them.
It's like going on a what are they called now? The ghost train things. Do you know what I mean? Like, where stuff just it's little crap. Really.
Yeah, like little shocks, and that's what you know what you're getting. Yeah. I think with other horror films, unless it's an original concept. I mean, I'm probably going to annoy a lot of people because I know these are beloved franchises. But Saw. Yeah, I think Saw 1 was amazing. I thought it was a very, very good film, very clever. The thing is, it doesn't get the credit it deserves now because it's one of a load. Yeah. But back in the day, you have to remember, nothing like that had ever been done. It was like a sandbox film. Everything was filmed in the one room. And it was just all about building the tension through the characters acting. And I thought it was very good. And then they killed it with the franchise. Paranormal Activity, very similar. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. It was such a phenomenal film.
It was just an indie film at the end of the day. And it was made like 15 grand. And it was
so clever.
Yeah.
Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they didn't make franchise, really, but like the moving camera was done to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? After Blair Witch. But the first one, nothing happens in Blair Witch. Nothing really at all.
You don't see a monster. You don't see anything.
But God, it's tense. I remember watching that and just being absolutely terrified. I thought it was a great film. So yeah, sequels for horror films in particular don't do it for me.
I think it's for this is a complete tangent on like the nature of horror films.
Well, I mean, this is a horror episode, so you know we're seeing what it draws from,
but I think the reason why I think initial concepts work for horror better is because it's more unknown. Yeah. Whereas when you know what the story is going into it, it's not really scary. You just think how they're going to change it. You know what I mean? Like Saw. To be fair, to Saw. I like 1, 2, and 3's okay. After that, it just falls off a cliff.
You know what? I don't have a problem with any of the films. Like, I really don't. Yeah. And I could pop them on. And who doesn't like to see all the different ways you can kill somebody? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those weird things.
In a film.
Obviously. But it is. That's what you go to see a Saw film for. You go to see the creative ways in which people can die. Yeah. And it's just crazy fun ways.
Basically what it is. That's the appeal of
That's the appeal of it, right?
After 1, anyway.
Yeah, and I can put one on and I can enjoy it and it's fine. I've not got a problem with it. But what I'm talking about is, if you'd left it to Saw 1, that's a critical masterpiece. Well, masterpiece is probably a bit strong, but a really critically acclaimed film that would stand the test of time as one of the greats. I don't think it's considered that now because you can't talk about that without talking about the rest.
Yeah, about the 9 films that follow it.
Yeah, and it comes in the same conversation. And So it's difficult, isn't it?
It's a similar concept. Shrek.
Shrek 1 was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And then you can't talk about it now without thinking
of Shrek Forever After.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not against all sequels if it works, but...
Do you know who is the master of sequels?
Go on.
James Cameron. James Cameron knocks every sequel he does. I'm looking forward to Avatar 2 because it's like...
What other sequels has he done?
He did Terminator 2.
Great sequel, yeah. One of the best sequels of all time, I would say.
Aliens, the sequel to Alien 1.
Yeah, okay.
He did Titanic 2 now. He's done another
Revenge of the Ice.
He's done another famous sequel. I cannot for the life of me remember it now, but those two big examples there where he improved on the franchise with the second one, which is tough to do, I find.
Best sequel of all time, go.
Terminator 2, easy.
What about Back to the Future 2? Do you not think that he comes up against it a little bit?
I like Back to the Future 3.
I love Back to the Future 3, yeah.
But
I think Back to the Future 2 is universally accepted as one of the best.
I like Back to the Future. I still think Back to the Future 1 is the stronger film for me. But I like all three.
Terminator 2 is
Terminator 2
without doubt the
because
best.
Terminator 1 is a decent sci-fi film. It's good. Terminator 2 is outstanding. One of the best films of the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
People are like, whoa, that's a strong claim. I love Terminator 2.
It is a great film.
As a just standalone action film, amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. But anyway.
Well, we've gone off horror, so now we can't justify talking about films.
No, we're on a complete tangent. So,
let's get back to X-Files.
Swastikas and all this stuff.
So we, as I say, while all this drawing on the hands happening, we go back to Mulder and he's asking all these sort of paranormal occurrences and whether they've seen anything. As he does, the fire alarm triggers. All the lights go off. Yeah. They're sat in the darkness, and he's basically saying, "Does this happen often?" It's a bit of a coincidence.
It blows my mind when you see that, and they're just like, "Yeah, it's just an old house." It's like, no. Really weird. All this stuff's happening, and your child has just died.
Yeah,
leave. Just go. Get out of here.
You would not wait around. When the lights come back on, the grandmother's there. I didn't actually get the grandmother's name.
I don't know if
but
you have the name.
It makes no difference. The grandmother's there, and she accuses Maggie of having a devil child, which is a bit strong.
I know, yeah.
Considering he's right there. But is he? That's not... we'll see. We'll see. So, back in the FBI headquarters, Mulder and Scully are talking about the swastika on the back of Charlie's hand. Mulder goes on to explain, like you've already informed us, that in some cultures it's considered a way of warding off evil spirits.
I think it's a Hindu symbol or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure I read it somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that, but yeah, it's as I say, it's sort of a protective symbol, if you like, the backwards swastika. But Scully, at this point, she says that she puts up forward the Munchausen by proxy syndrome, which is basically Munchausen syndrome. Or is it syndrome or disease?
Not sure. I've never heard of this before.
Did you not?
No.
So Munchausen disease is where you hurt yourself for attention, and you sort of you go to the doctors, you make stuff up. Munchausen by proxy is where you do it to your kids.
Oh, right.
So and then you get the attention from that and stuff like that. And she thinks that's what's happening here because there's a long hospital record for Charlie, and basically, sorry, not Charlie, Teddy. The child that died.
Yeah.
And basically she thinks that that's why all this weird stuff's going on, and maybe it went too far with this train thing, and that's what she thinks.
Yeah.
And that's what she also puts down to the grandmother's sort of accusation that Charlie's evil and that would get the family more attention. She thinks actually the grandmother that's doing this.
Yeah.
So they interview Steve, which is the dad.
Yeah.
And they want to discuss the grandmother. Golda, that's her name. Sorry, I've made a note of it here.
Yeah.
So
that was her name.
They discuss Golda. And Steve basically says that she's trying to protect the children from evil spirits, and that's why she's acting weirdly and she's got sort of weird behaviour, all because of her, where she comes from and her background, and that's in her culture. But he does suspect something about her involvement in Teddy's death.
Yeah.
And Scully refers Steve to a social worker and asks that Charlie's brought in to see this sort of the social worker. Basically, if there's something going on, at least it's a safe environment for it to be resolved.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're still in the house, the Holvey house, and Scully is watching Golda sprinkle something into Charlie's food, which instantly reminds me of Sixth Sense. And I don't know why. Every time I see something, do you remember that
the
scene?
little girl, is it?
Yeah, where she's like poisoned over time.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
I always remember the bit where you see the kid for the first time, she's like vomiting.
Yeah. It's a really disturbing scene, and it obviously had an effect on me. I must have watched it when I was 5.
That's not a film you want to watch when you're 5.
Well, I must, I say 5, maybe 6, 7. I know I definitely watched it when I was in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And it must have had an effect on me, because every time I see something being put in someone's food, that's immediately what I think of. It's that video of her eating the soup. Do you know what I mean? And you see her put it in, and she's hitting the camera.
Yeah.
Ugh. Don't know why. But again, you get an insight into what I think when I'm watching the X-Files, and I'm like, oh god. So yeah, Scully actually does say, what was that you put in there? Or was you going to say something?
I was going to say, why is it that we tend to, this happen? I know every person I've ever met has got this story of, oh man, I watched this horror film when I was 5 and I should not have watched it. Everyone's got one horror film in it that they always just either accidentally walk in on or something like that.
I think a lot of it's testing the waters with your parents.
Yeah.
I remember when I was, I must have been about 9, and Final Destination came out.
Oh yeah.
And I really wanted to watch it. I kept moaning. My parents let me watch it. So I went upstairs. Me and my sister, we watched it on our own, and I got to the second death, which is where he gets it tied around his neck in the bath.
Yeah.
And the plane I could deal with, because that's never going to happen. The bath, in my mind, I was just that could happen to me.
Yeah.
I remember bawling my eyes out, going downstairs, and I never got to watch a horror film for another 4 years after that. That was the end of it for me.
I remember the one for me, I remember watching daft stuff like Freddy Krueger. I watched when I was really young, but it didn't bother me because it was sort of bits and pieces, and I was just sort of whatever. The one that got me,
I think I know you've told me this.
The Ring.
Yeah.
So, me and my brother, I was 10 at the time, and Dean's 3 years younger than me, so he's 7. We were watching The Ring around my uncle's house, and I don't know why my uncle thought it was okay that we'd watch this film. So it gets to the part where you watch the actual Ring film, and then in the film, once you've watched it, the phone rings.
Yeah.
So my uncle, trickster that he is, had his phone, or his mobile phone, next to him by the side of the chair. So as soon as that video finished, my uncle called the house phone, and he looked at it looked at us shocked. So I'm 10. I looked at Dean. He was like, "You're going to have to answer it." My uncle said to me. Dean started crying. I threw the phone at him. I was like, "I ain't answering it." Condemned my 7-year-old brother to death. And that film is probably the scariest film. Even to this day, I watch it and it puts me on edge.
Yeah, but it's because of what you experienced with it. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah,
that's great.
Slight psychological abuse.
Yeah, we all have those stories, unfortunately. So yeah. Anyway, Scully does mention what's being sprinkled into his food, but before he eats, he gets taken away with the social worker anyway. And Maggie is not happy with this. So obviously the parents don't agree. And while in the garage, he's put his son in the car. Steve is trying. The door's malfunctioning. He can't get it to work. He gets up into the sort of the motor in the roof of the garage.
The garage door, yeah.
And he gets trapped and basically ends up hanging himself.
Yeah, his tie gets caught in it.
And I thought this was horrific. I really did.
Yeah.
Again, classic horror trope, but just the tension and the Charlie in the back seat watching his dad die. I just thought it was horrific. It was, but yeah, you just see this. The worst part for me is I don't know whether you're getting the gist of this, but I really enjoyed this episode because it was a ghost story done well.
Yeah,
I thought where it was just really good tension and involved. And the worst part for me was when you saw the garage door open and Mulder and Scully could see what was happening, and like literally Scully was like, Mulder, we've got to go.
Yeah.
Because you just saw his feet,
legs,
his feet hanging, and that's always an ominous like visual, isn't it?
Do you know what? It's quite Final Destination-esque.
Yeah, it very is. That whole scenario. Yeah. Another franchise that could have done with just the one. Yeah. But we'll not get into that again.
You ever watched the third one with the roller coaster?
Yes.
That was an interesting one.
Isn't that where the signal for all of the deaths is that song Roller Coaster of Love? Songs are the signals, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
It always reminds me of... The only reason I remember that one is because it has Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim in it.
It does, yeah. Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
That's on, yeah.
She's a good actress.
She got run over by a train. Much like X-Files.
Yes, thank you for bringing that back round. The police investigate the death, obviously, but they indicate that it was an accidental death. It was just, he got his tie caught and that's what happened. But they do find Golda's room, and it's filled with candles and also a couple of dead roosters.
Yeah.
So something very cult-like.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of cults we've had in this series so far.
We have, yeah. I mean, this isn't really a cult, though. It had a cult vibes to it, but it's not really a cult.
No.
Mulder also discovers a grey powder in the garage. And they actually go to get it tested. And basically, it doesn't exist, this substance. It's got no... I think they said here, I've got it here, it's nothing organic or inorganic, and it's nothing that's ever existed before. Like, it's got no structure, if you like.
Yeah, basically.
Which is a weird thing to get your head around. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, what? It's got to be something, but yeah, it's nothing.
It kind of... This is the first indication I got towards where the plot was heading, because it reminded me a bit of Drag Me to Hell, where whenever there's like this demon thing in Drag Me to Hell, there's this ash that follows it. So I had the feeling then there was going to be some kind of like spirit or...
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was some kind of demon or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Not exactly, but that kind of...
It's got a similar vibe to it. It's like a poltergeist of sorts,
especially towards the end as well, with the final scene.
Yeah, exactly. So, this obviously with this powder, you want to know more about it, don't you?
Yeah.
So who better to go to than a photo editor?
Yeah.
Because he'll know.
Yeah.
He will know, won't he? Chuck will know.
I thought that. I was like, why are they reusing the same experts?
So, yeah. Mulder shows the substance to Chuck, and he's like, he's seen it before. Of course he has. I've seen this before in my photo editing days.
Yeah.
You see it all. You see it all in this business.
Isn't he basically had a backstory that he was a traveller who went over to... Like, all right,
ridiculous.
Fair enough.
But yeah, he says it identifies as a port, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Basically, it means that it's something that can appear from thin air, which Scully has an issue with. But he goes on to explain, much like you've just said, that it occurs in this presence of spirits and during sort of paranormal activity. So basically, it's what happens... He goes on to explain it's what happens when a person's energy is transported to a different location. This is the residue that's left behind.
Yeah.
Scully doesn't buy any of this, of course, but that's the way it's being explained. Mulder's lapping it up. Absolutely lapping it up.
Scully says something, and I can't remember the joke, but I just remember Mulder pissing himself laughing over it. He's like proper grinning at the joke.
I don't remember this.
I can't remember what he says, but...
No, I didn't make a note of it.
I'll use that as the clip this week.
There you go, sorted.
And I'll put the image of Mulder's smiling face.
So at the back at the Holvey house, Charlie's listening to Golda, and these three men are stood around performing what I can only describe as a ritual.
Yeah.
Would you say a ritual?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They're later identified as the Calusari, hence the title of this episode. And he's listening at the door. The door's closed. He's listening to his grandmother and these three men making these things. And they're doing this ritual, and something's happening, like things are bubbling. It's very much what you'd see in like a film about like witches and stuff like that. It's like a potion.
Yeah.
Then it gets weird, because Charlie's face appears in the smoke.
I did not notice.
Did you not notice it?
No.
Oh, it's really really interesting. So they're doing these sort of chanting in this different language, Romanian, obviously, and in the smoke that's emitting, you see the light from this sort of from this pot. you see like this sort of ghostly image of Charlie, and he's speaking like this sort of demonic language at them, and he's screaming it at them.
I didn't get that scene at all.
Did you not?
No.
It was really good, really well done.
That might have been...
Did you not see Charlie like sitting at the floor of the door listening in?
He was listening in at the door, but I didn't see that bit like at all.
Ooh,
maybe they cut that out of it because I watched it on Amazon. Maybe
maybe we'll have to get you my copy.
I'll have to
interesting.
rewatch it.
Interesting.
Maybe that's what changed your opinion of it.
I thought it was really well done, and it looked amazing. Yeah, it's like this sort of just the only light in the room was the red light from the pot shining up on like this sort of ghostly Charlie.
That's weird. That's really weird.
I'll
have to rewatch it and see.
Yeah. Maybe you just missed it.
Maybe
because there was all still chanting and walking around at the time. While this is all happening in the room, the social worker arrives, and her and Maggie, the mother, discover Charlie laying in the hallway outside of Golder's door. I think he screams, doesn't he? And they sort of run up to him.
Yeah. Did you notice who the social worker was?
Karen Kosef, the character name. I didn't know who.
Yeah, she was the one who was talking to Scully. Do you know when Scully was... what episode was it now? The one where she was like talking about...
when she had like the sort of breakdown. It was...
it was the death fetishist one, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
She was the same psychologist.
I didn't notice that now. Yeah, interesting. So she's gone to a friend almost. Well, a co-worker that she knows well.
Yeah.
So yeah, Charlie's obviously like sort of hurt on the outside, and Maggie's fuming. She enters the room, tells everyone to get out, and at this point, Golder grabs Charlie, drags him into the room, locks the door behind her, and all the mother and the social worker can do is just sort of bang on the door. But the social worker ends up going outside and getting Mulder and Scully. I think it's just Scully at this time, isn't it?
Yeah.
She tells them she's called 911 as well. We go back up to the room, and Golder's got a knife, and she's like preparing to sort of cut Charlie at this point. But things start flying around in the room. It knocks her over. But bearing in mind, those three guys left at this point, so it's only Golder and Charlie in the room. And as she turns to face Charlie, he's got this dead rooster in his hand, and he just throws it at her. And they come back to life and peck her eyes out.
Yeah.
What is this episode?
I know, yeah, it's really, really dark.
Yeah.
What a way to go.
They just attack her, and eventually Mulder and Scully get in. Golder's already dead.
Yeah.
Like, what a way to die.
Imagine the last thing you see is a bird's beak pecking your eyes out.
I just thought of Poyo from Chew. Like the killer rooster.
The killer rooster, yeah.
And yeah, the roosters are dead as well. Just as a side note, they're sort of lying there next to her.
Yeah.
Later on, the mother, Maggie, reveals that she knows what the ceremony that the grandmother was performing was, and she tells them it's designed to sort of protect the child, not harm him. It's a protection sort of chant. And they watch as Karen, which is the social worker, that was the social worker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Interviews Charlie, and Charlie starts. He's not being very compliant.
Yeah.
He's sort of he tells her that Michael was responsible. Out of the blue, just says it was Michael.
And as soon as she says this as well, she spins around and sort of, you can tell something's up.
I had a bit of an issue with that myself.
Yeah.
It was. I don't think that the acting was great. I didn't think the acting was great from the mother throughout.
No.
I thought it was a little bit sort of very overacted.
I did look if she was in anything else.
Nope.
Not really.
No, I can understand. Like, it was very overacted a lot. But, to be fair, I also wasn't impressed with the child's performance up until Michael turns up, and then I was very impressed. Yeah. And so, to be fair to him, to this young lad, this young actor, to play two different roles so differently, I actually thought he did a really stand-up job.
Yeah.
I just wasn't that impressed with him before, but to be fair, he had to be as opposite as Michael as possible, so I understand that.
True.
But yeah, this weird sort of, it was proper, like those Mexican soaps that you see sometimes.
Yeah.
They're really dramatic.
Yeah.
That's the way it looked, the way she turned around. But yeah, anyway, so he says Michael, is responsible. And we find out that Michael was Charlie's stillborn twin. And Maggie tells Scully that I've never told... We agreed never to tell him about this, so there's no way Charlie could know. But it obviously does.
Yeah. Did you ever play that David Cage game with Ellen Page?
Yes.
Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah.
As soon as they said this, I was like,
It's very similar. Yeah, very similar.
similar.
In fact, now that you mention it, it's extremely similar.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a common theme that you know what I mean? Like maybe this is like a trope. I don't know.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that game.
Yeah, it was good.
I really enjoyed it. I don't think I'd play it again.
Nah.
I mean, to be fair, David Cage has got a large, vast amount of problems with his games.
Oh, yeah. And his studio.
Yeah. I won't get into all of that. Like, he doesn't do the best politically, but I still enjoy those games.
Yeah.
So, what can I say?
Yeah.
I'm a sucker. So, yeah, we start sort of getting into the crux of the issue here. Charlie suddenly has a seizure. And the social worker calls them in, rushes them in, and they take her to hospital. And while at hospital, a nurse comes in, he's just normal, trying to give Charlie this sort of jab, this shot.
Yeah.
And he starts freaking out. No, I don't want this, screaming. And as I assume most children will.
Yeah.
But then another Charlie from behind the nurse appears, who I assume is Michael at this point.
Yeah.
And Charlie sees Michael, and Michael's running towards the nurse with something in his hand, raised above his head. You know he's going to attack her, and Charlie's begging him, don't hurt her, don't hurt her, don't hurt her. And he attacks the nurse.
Yeah.
So Michael's getting stronger.
Initially, at this point, because it's been so dark up until this point, I thought, wow, there's another victim.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't.
Yeah.
But he's not a ghost anymore. He's like this physical being.
Yeah. He's actually become...
So I don't know how that works, why he's suddenly got stronger. I'm not sure, but interesting.
The spirit world is mystical.
Yes, we're not supposed to know, are we?
No.
So then we get this strange, interesting scene. Michael... Well, I knew it was Michael straight away, so I don't know why I don't know why I'm pretending like it's not at the start. Basically, Michael impersonates Charlie and goes to his mum and says, the doctors have let me out, let's go home. His mum's like, yeah, okay, let's go talk to the doctors first. I'm not going to take my medical advice from a 7-year-old. And he says, no, we've got to go home now. And she knows straight away, doesn't she?
Yeah, something's up straight away,
But she takes him home. And Mulder and Scully notice that they're leaving. But meanwhile, we see Maggie has taken them home in the house, and she's sort of making him breakfast. This kid is completely different the way he's acting. And he's really cutting as well.
Yeah, what the one thing they said, I was like, what a piss taker.
So what he says was, and I didn't make notes, so I wish I had, but he said, can I have breakfast, Mum? Are you not having breakfast? And he's being very sort of stern. And then he says, we can go to the park later, Mummy.
Yeah.
And his mum's like, yeah, of course we can, son. Can we get a balloon?
Yeah.
And then immediately the mum's like, obviously hurt, and she's like, yeah, okay. Can we ride the train?
Yeah.
And I was like, you piece of work. Yeah. Oh my God. Why would he do that? What's the need for that?
Hey, you don't know what he's seen on the other side.
Yeah, I suppose.
It can change a man.
It can change a man, I suppose.
Oh, boy.
But we see that, so she says, yeah, eat up. I'm going to go into the other room, get myself ready, and we'll go to the park. And she starts the same ritual.
Yeah.
Because she obviously suspects it. And you could tell in her face the way she acted. It was good in this part. She knew that this wasn't Charlie.
Did you notice with his voice as well that it sort of goes vaguely British? Sort of, it's a bit more...
I can't say I did notice.
It's a bit more well-spoken, and it's sort of a bit more like formal, and it sounds sort of like that, like Britishy.
No, I didn't notice.
That's what. Trust him to be a villain.
The bad guy.
He's British. The language of villains.
All the while this is going on, Mulder and Scully realise that Charlie's still there, so they rush to the house. And Maggie's performing this routine. Scully rushed to the house because Mulder's still at the hospital, and he contacts the Calusari.
Yeah.
And they arrive and immediately begin performing an exorcism. I thought this whole scene was fantastic.
Yeah, I liked the last scene, to be fair.
I really enjoyed this scene. Again, and the problem is, this is the thing, I know this is an X-Files podcast, and I don't want people to just think that we're sort of pandering and we're trying to say the right things, because we're saying it all the time, and I know, but genuinely, Duchovny's acting here, I thought was superb. Like, absolutely superb. Like, just, you could tell that the way he performed it, you could tell that Mulder was intrigued, but also completely terrified by the truth. He wants to know the truth, and even to the point where they tell him to look. Okay, shall we get into it first? Yeah. Okay, so they start performing this exorcism. The kid's struggling. He wakes up. They all hold him down. They even ask Mulder to hold his legs, and the kid wakes up. He's sort of he's getting angry. His teeth look sort of...
They look sharp.
They get sharp, yeah. But he keeps going back and forth. Like, he'll go into like this innocent child and asking Mulder to stop hurting him. And they tell him no, that it's just...
He falls for it every time.
Yeah. They say to him he's lying, he's pretending. And they're doing this whole ritual. The bed lifts off the floor. He's screaming. The walls start having like this sort of green ooze on them.
Yeah. Looks like the paint's melting. Or
something. Yeah. And all the while, Mulder, he's desperate to know the truth. And they tell him, don't look at him because the evil will stay with you. It'll recognise your face.
Yeah.
But he can't look away. And it's because he doesn't know whether he's doing the right thing here.
Yeah.
You're hurting a child at this point. Do you know what I mean? I just thought it was a really good scene. But I just thought this whole episode, for me, I just thought they did it so well. And I think it's testament to the episode that throughout this, how many times have we mentioned another horror film? Because it reminded us so much of all these cliches. And not in a bad way, in a way that this is the way horror should be done.
Yeah, I agree.
And I thought throughout this episode, really good. The exorcism goes... Oh, sorry, carry on.
No, I've thought as well with this. There's two things that popped up during this entire scene while I was watching it. Is one, how do Mulder and Scully go to sleep at night knowing all of these horrors are real and out there?
I have no idea.
Like, after this...
Xanax.
I know, a lot of it. And also, I did like in this part how it definitely felt like Mulder was way... out of his depth.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time where he's
We've never seen that before. Yeah, you're right. Because usually it's him dealing with it.
Yeah.
But it's somebody else, and I just don't think he knows how to deal with that.
I think, like, if it was an alien, like, sort of presence or something, he'd have some knowledge, some interest, or
even if it was him being exercised.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like he'd deal with it better almost. Yeah.
But this just felt like he was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, I'm just sort of...
And what I loved was how that changes Mulder, because obviously the Calusari know exactly what they're doing, because this has been part of their culture for centuries. And so the great thing about this was that when Mulder had his sort of moments of doubt, the Calusari just barked commands, and he became so subservient to them. Like, he just did whatever they said without question. Yeah. And like, they're doing horrible things to this child. Yeah. Didn't question it at all, because he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I thought I just little nuances, and I just thought it worked so well. We're getting right to the end now. During whilst this is going on, Scully arrives at the house and finds basically the grandmother's room in absolute disarray. Another great visual, and I know I'm pushing my thoughts of this episode onto it, so we'll talk about this afterwards, what you thought. Yeah. But another great visual, she walks into the room, the camera cuts back to Scully walking through the door, and we just see the mother held up against the corner of the room.
Yeah.
101 horror.
Yeah.
But beautifully done.
Yeah.
Like, and she's just talking, and like, as if nothing's happening.
Everything's just sort of tilted, twisted.
Yeah, a twisted reality is a perfect way to describe it. And it's the way that she's just talking normally. It's really creepy, giving you just shivers down your spine. So yeah, she's reciting her prayers, I believe. And Michael attacks Scully, throws her across the room. Basically doesn't like he must have super strength or something like that, because he just throws her around. He lunges at her, nearly kills her, but the Calusari complete the ritual at the hospital, and he disappears. He's gone.
Yeah.
And Scully's sort of safe, just in time. And Charlie returns to normal. I should say that they do that by drawing the symbol on his chest, that sort of reverse swastika. Which, he's got to wash that off. It's going to be awkward if it doesn't come off, isn't it?
Everyone just thinks he's a skinhead.
So yeah, everyone's sort of safe. Charlie returns to normal, but before Mulder leaves, the main man from the Calusari...
I think that's his rank, actually.
The main man. Main man,
Calusari.
He pulls Mulder back and he says, "It's all over, but you should be careful.
Right.
The evil," this is what he says, "the evil that once dwelled in Charlie will recognise you, and now it knows you."
Man, try and get to sleep tonight, Mulder. Honestly.
I wonder whether this will have future... I mean, I don't know whether it will.
No,
but you could sort of... Anything that happens from now on, you could sort of put down to this.
Yeah. This is Satan's getting involved.
Yeah, I know, yeah. That was the end of the episode. What did you think of it? Because I know we sort of had a little brief discussion, and I know we sort of had different opinions at the start, didn't we?
I mean, I thought it was a fairly solid episode. There wasn't anything really I could say that was bad about it, to be honest. I liked, as you mentioned, I think this was the best use of spirits that we've had
I'd agree with that.
In the series so far. And I liked sort of the Exorcist sort of tone of it, I guess. Like, especially towards the end, that scene with the bed rising and everything, it was
really
like
well
Exorcist.
done, yeah.
Massive change from last week. Now I think that's what threw me off a bit. I wasn't ready for this pitch black darkness of an episode.
Well, it throws you through a loop right at the start, because literally you start off at a fairground like last week. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's a bit strange.
But I thought it was okay. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. I just thought it was a decent episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've not guessed already, I really enjoyed this episode, and maybe it's because I wasn't looking forward to it as soon as I found out it was ghosts or spirits, but it completely... I'm not a fan of that sort of genre, but it really wowed me with how impressive, mostly down to the tension. Really enjoyed how they built it up and how they really ramped up the sort of the action, but without doing much. Yeah, it was just all in the sort of the shots, the way it was shot, and the music behind it, and the sort of the mise en scène of all the scenes. I just think it worked really well. Yeah. I can understand. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it, and it's right up there for me with one of my favourite episodes.
Yeah.
I can understand why it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I think it's just the way I saw it, the way I watched it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing.
I'm impressed, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm not surprised that it was. You really enjoyed it, because it was a decent episode. It was just for me personally, it wasn't. It didn't blow me away, but
I'd say the biggest compliment I could give it. Yeah. I watched it late last night.
Yeah.
And as I was watching it, I saw that there was ghosts, and I thought, oh God, I'm going to struggle. I'm going to struggle to watch this. I might have to watch this tomorrow when I'm less tired.
Yeah.
Wide awake by the end of it. Yeah. So I think that sort of just goes to show how much I enjoyed it, because I was on my edge of my seat watching it. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, fantastic. Another great episode. And now, on to our favourite segment.
Luke's production notes.
Before becoming a writer, Sarah Charno had been a doctor of Eastern medicine, and so her esoteric knowledge that none of the rest of the writers had about all kinds of things. That was a weirdly tough sentence. I copied that verbatim, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. And so her esoteric knowledge that none of the rest of the writers had about all kinds of things. Okay, that's whatever.
Good start.
Was put to use in this script, according to writer Frank Spotsnitz.
So obviously this is her first episode then?
I don't think it is. I'm sure I've seen Sarah Charno in another one.
Okay.
I Aubrey. She wrote Aubrey.
Nice.
The episode was based largely on an idea that the series creator Chris Carter had about a garage door opener hanging.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's strange, isn't it? What they sort of get as the nugget of the episode.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I suppose, if it's that little creative spark and it leads on to different things.
The rest of it.
I thought it was a great shot.
Yeah, definitely. Christine Wills, who plays the role of Agent Kosef, reprised her role. She originally appeared in the earlier episode, Irresistible.
We don't need production notes for that. We've got Luke. We've got our main man Luke on the case.
I'm here all week. During production of the episode, the producers agonised over both the teaser, given that it revolved around a kid being killed by a tram, and the episode...
No, don't just power through that. That's terrible professionalism. It's off, and I do apologise.
Who's that?
Sorry?
Name and shame.
Gemma. We are recording. Should we read out what she's put?
Yeah, go on. This could be very personal.
Isn't that? How are we looking on time? Oh, always about the time with that girl. Always about the time. Honestly, I really off tangent. I love going through because I love going through the messages between me and Jem, because I there's people in my office that they come to work and they're on the phone to their missus, right? They go for lunch straight away. They're on the phone and they spend their entire lunch on the phone, texting throughout the day.
Yeah.
Get off straight home. And don't get me wrong, it's lovely. Like if you've got that relationship, it would drive me and Jem mad. I know it would. And we was talking about this at work, and I to prove my point, I went onto my WhatsApp and I read out the last 5 or 6 messages between me and Jem.
Yeah.
We don't text each other every day, to be honest with you. And the last message before that was, "Can you pay me for the pizza?" And I put back, "Paid, full stop." And that's love.
Point.
That's love.
That's the same text I have to Aid, so I'm a bit worried now. All right.
I didn't even pay her.
What a liar.
I do apologise for the interruptions. Please continue.
Right. During production of the episode, the producers agonised over both the teaser, given that it revolved around a child being killed by a tram,
I can see that,
and the episode's overall bleakness. Fox Standards and Practices Department, on the other hand, took issue with the initial cut of Steve's strangulation scene. In the end, the scene was kept, but the actor's face was obscured to soften the impact.
Ooh. I think that would have added a little bit more to it if you just... I mean, to be fair, again, it's a creepy shot regardless, so...
I think they usually are. Networks are strange where, strangulation and stuff like that. I think they mentioned that in the past, haven't we, about, notes on production.
Yeah.
Although the episode's filming went along smoothly, the final cut didn't pass muster. Spotsnitz explained that Carter spent a lot of time in the editing room trying to figure out how to make this more terrifying. Spotsnitz later noted that Carter's dedication proved that something could be so much better if you didn't give up.
Oh, interesting. A little bit of big pat on their own back there.
Sucking up to the boss, is it, Spotsnitz?
But, I thought it was... Yeah, again, I thought they really captured that sort of... the fear side of things and get that sort of scary edge to it. So, yeah, I agree.
And that's my notes for this week.
Fantastic. I reckon we should try and get to a few bits of feedback before we go forward. Mm-hmm. Before we do that, I'd just like to remind everyone, obviously... It's our anniversary show today.
Yeah.
Not made too much of a big deal out of it. So it's it's been a year. It's been a really good year, and thank everyone for sort of joining us on this journey. And everyone's been great. People have been getting in touch with the show and sharing it and letting everyone know about it. So it's been fantastic all year. So what we're going to do as a sort of little sort of special couple of a week, if you like, because obviously next week is our 50th episode as well.
Yeah.
So all the landmarks coming all at once. So we thought what we're going to do is we're going to have a week. We said this last week, didn't we? We're going to have a week of podcasts this week.
Yeah.
So nothing to worry about. Just like you don't have to listen to an hour and a half long show every day. Just little.
That would have changed it, wouldn't it, if we did an episode every week.
Why are they doing this to us?
And this is the 7th episode of this season. It'd be something along those lines.
So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to do little character bios with a twist. It's not exactly a character bio, but it's our thoughts on some of the main players in this show so far and what we've thought of them throughout, at the start when we first meet them to what we think now. And just little 10-minute episodes throughout the week, ending in our 50th episode next Wednesday.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it and sort of revisiting some characters and trying to cast our minds back to a year ago today, where what we thought of them when we first saw them on screen. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, make sure to tune in tomorrow, the next day, right up all the way through the week at your own pace. It's there for you whenever you want it. And if you don't want to and you want to skip to the next episode, same time next week as always.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get to a few bits of feedback that we've received. Ray got in touch about the last episode we recorded. Actually, it wasn't. It was Dardcom.
Yeah,
Dardcom.
Yeah,
I can't stop saying that. She said, thanks guys, still fun even without the notes. Yep. That was on me. Dardcom is a strange episode, but I like it, mostly because of the Mulder and Scully dynamics. Their devotion to each other is a beautiful thing. And I think that's a common theme throughout the last 2 seasons, to be honest. I think that's the main drive to the show, isn't it?
I think towards the end of Series 1 and now throughout the entire of this season, it's become quite obvious that they depend on each other so much. Now, more than just a partner relationship. So.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we also had a message actually just coming through a couple of moments ago from Kathy, and she's put back with regards to the last episode that your humbug episode is fantastic. Listening to your reactions to experiencing this delightful episode for the first time reminds me of what I love about it. Thanks for that. There's more I'd like to say, but I'm determined not to be the source of spoilers.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so we appreciate that. Now, you know what? That's really great to hear, because when we started this show, obviously we had in mind that people could watch along with us, but we wanted to make a show that long-time watchers of X-Files could enjoy as well. And I think we are sort of capturing that, where we are getting people tuning in and saying to us that they can almost experience it like they experienced it for the first time.
I think that was the thing that we wanted to do, was sort of like...
all-inclusive.
Yeah, basically, if you've never watched it before, you can basically follow the experience like us. But for people who have seen it, who have watched it before, it's less of more of an analysis afterwards. It's more of just, those initial thoughts.
Yeah, and what you felt at the time, and without being sort of sullied or sort of even looking back through fake fondness because of the rest of the show, because we don't know. Yeah. We've not watched it.
Yeah, I mean, you hear I've heard stories about later series and stuff like that, but because I don't have first-hand experience with it, I haven't. Nothing's been tainted or nothing's been changed.
Exactly,
it's all fresh.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the beauty of it, because it is just raw reactions, for better or worse. Sometimes we don't like episodes, and I look back on it and I think, when I've looked through it, I'm like, maybe it was a little bit harsh on that episode, but it's just a raw reaction, and that's what it should be like. That's what it was like at the time. But now I'm really happy that you enjoyed it. That's actually made me really happy to read, because I love the fact that people are enjoying it regardless of their situation. And just on a side note, she did also tweet us last week saying, "I appreciate the musical attempt." Yeah, I don't think we'll be taking a career in that.
No, that'll probably be our one and only.
We definitely tried.
Yeah, well, sort of it. It's a very extended cut, wasn't it?
It certainly was. It certainly was. Yeah. So I think that's it for this week. Obviously, we've got a lot of episodes to record, Luke. we'll be doing that straight after recording this one. So,
you might notice the same quality of sound.
Perfect, as always. So, we're going to get onto that. Again, join us along for the ride. We're gonna go through all of them. And by all means, get in touch. Let us know what you think. Unfortunately, we won't be able to read them, obviously, because by the time this one goes out, we'll have already recorded them all. But let us know, and we'll talk about it in future episodes, what you thought of the characters. And obviously, we'll be talking about them, revealing the characters day after day. So listen along and let us know what you think, what you thought at the start, what you thought at this point. Even if you want to go into what you thought at the end, we'll try and be spoiler-free if you can. And next week, which is our 50th show, we'll be looking at an episode that I can't pronounce. F. Emasculata.
That sounds right.
I think.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking into that one next week as well. So we look forward to seeing you there. Luke, have you thought of a way to say goodbye this week?
Well, you're just lucky that I am so prepared for this segment.
Yeah, you look like you're frantically searching on your phone.
Well, no, I'm just like, do you know how
I've never seen someone so panicked.
do you know how Sherlock goes into his mind vault?
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing now, because I'm trying to find out how to basically say goodbye in a language that I know and I've learned.
And you've learned, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because I can see you, I know that's the case.
Yeah.
I understand how it can be perceived to people listening that you're stalling for time.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
No, definitely not.
That is not the case.
No. So, I've finally figured.
You've gone into your mind vault. You've looked through the files.
Down. Yeah, I was like, no, not Swahili. No,
you don't want that. That's for a later episode. Day.
But this week, I've decided to go with Swedish.
Swedish. All of our Swedish fans. Okay.
So,
hello, Sweden.
I was going to say some of them.
I was going to say Sweden, but then I feel is that a bad joke?
But I was going to say something about ABBA, but I think maybe
this is the things that we know. I mean, it's not great, is it? It doesn't put us in the best light.
We could be worse. He could have gone straight for the Swedish chef from the Muppets. So.
We could have. And we didn't. Luckily,
he talks,
I wouldn't mention him at all.
No.
So how do you say goodbye in Swedish, Luke?
Well, so I'm going to say goodbye in Swedish.
Okay.
So to all of our Swedish listeners or Swedish-speaking listeners, adieu.
I thought it was adieu.
Adieu.
Obviously. You've got an accent.
Yeah, that's my accent.
Yeah, that's just Swedish accents. Yeah, you come from the Swedish ghettos.
Not any more ghettos. Not anymore.
Okay, nice. Yeah. We're butchering this. I apologise if that's not the right way to say it, but we're trying.
We're trying.
And we shall see you tomorrow.